Hey, welcome to another Glen Yaps video. I'm glad everybody's getting a kick out of these videos I've been posting. They're fun to do, and I got a few more lined up over the next little while. Anyways, the emails and message I've been getting on the forums, they're a little bit tricky to kind of answer all of them, so I've been trying to group them together and hopefully answer some of the questions that people are throwing at me. One of the more personal ones in the last little while is where have I been? I haven't been playing live very much over the past few years. There's a couple of reasons. One of the main reasons is I've found the love of creating original music and recording in my studio, which you can see the studio on some of the other videos. And songwriting is just something I wanted to do pretty much for decades. And it's just fun. It's basically an outlet for me, and I just find it more creative than doing most cover material live. As for playing live cover bands, I do like doing it. My band, Flat Stanley, we parted with our singer a number of years ago, and we focused more on writing and recording. We haven't really found a replacement for a full-time band as of yet. We are looking, and if you're interested, definitely let us know. We want to do basically covers and originals, but as for the original material Flat Stanley is doing, we're basically having guest vocalists come in to do our material. We have lots of songs that we've written, lots more in parts that are in the near completion stages, and we have had some great singers come over from the Sioux area to help us out on the vocals. But for me personally, live-wise, I've been offered a few band jobs, quite a few actually, and I've kind of turned them down for various reasons. Nothing, might be the material. I've had a number of country rock bands ask me to play, and the country rock thing, the last band I did that with was Thin Ice, and although the material was good, I just knew that after doing that for years, I didn't want to go back to it anymore. I just wanted to change. I wanted to get more into the prog rock and rock roots that I kind of like to play in. My main thing is jazz, but it's definitely hard to get people to play that too. So, and there's not really a lot of venues for it. Another reason I've had health issues, I've had eye problems, and I suffer from a major problem with vertigo, which I've always had when I was younger, and then growing up I started getting episodes that were worse, and in the last 2 to 3 years, I've had major bouts of vertigo. And what that does when you're a drummer, well, with anybody, obviously it's a balance issue, but it's also it also affects your stamina on stage. Like, you wonder if you're going to make it through a whole night without this vertigo kicking in. You never know when it's coming. It just seems, in my case, it just seems to nail you at a certain time of the day, or when you wake up in the morning, it's there. It's just automatically there. You don't notice it when you're sleeping, and all of a sudden you wake up and it's there, and you can barely walk or function properly. I've been going through a bunch of tests with it, and there's a lot of things that can cause it. A lot of it might be inner ear problems, but nothing concrete yet for me. So it's been a nuisance, to say the least. I notice it more when I play drums, for whatever reason. Sitting down, I get the attacks of vertigo. So I'm not sure. I think more of it. It's there's a comfort zone for me. Like if I'm playing live and it happens, I'm just not sure how I can deal with it. For years, I've played with a drum throne with a back on it. Just in case. A lot of people have asked why I do that, and I have a welded stool that's all nice and set to my height, and it can't be adjusted. And but that's one of the reasons why I actually do that. And some people actually saw me get nervous when I played with the band Wishbone at Rotary Fest. They said that even though I was playing, fairly well, they noticed that it looked like I had a fear of falling off the back of the stage because there's no guard there, and that is actually one of the reasons. This, even though there's a back on the stool, with vertigo, you just never know where your dizzy spells or the attacks are going to, which way you're going to, teeter-totter, I guess would be the lightest term I can think of for that. So it's been a nuisance and not very fun. I have been doing fill-ins on bass with a 60s band locally. They're just a fun band of older musicians that kind of came out of retirement, and not all of them are retired, but a few of them, and started a band, and they just do 60s music with a little bit of 70s. And one of my good friends is on bass, William Judd. So basically, it's just a fun thing for me to fill in for him when he can't make it. I did just recently join a 60s band playing, again, just strictly 60s music, called Route 66, not to be confused with my old rock band Route 69. And it's with a gentleman named Colin Lilly, very excellent singer and rhythm guitar player. My guitar player from Flat Stanley is also on board on this, and it's just something we decided to do, I guess we'll say for our families, or families in general, of our parents' age, and maybe a little our age and a little bit older, because there doesn't seem to be music that caters to that crowd, age group so much, and we just thought it would be a lot of fun. And the 60s bands, there's a few of them around town. The one with Paul LeClaire, the name escapes me right now. I have yet to see them. I would like to see them soon. Anyways, they're all playing similar material and getting good crowds for it. So there is a market for it. So we just thought it would be fun to do. Other than that, I am teaching a few people. I'm just teaching. I get a lot of requests for people for lessons and stuff. I'm only teaching the odd few, just because time is there's not very much time for me to spread out for it. But I am teaching a few and basically getting them into music notation and drum reading, charts and stuff like that, just to help them get along. But they are more advanced players. They're not beginners. And sadly, I don't teach beginners. I used to for years, but I just found it basically had run its course with me. I just wanted to move into something a little more challenging. I do have a lot of students playing, both in Sioux, Michigan, where I used to teach at Cruise Music, and students here that are playing around town, which is always nice to see. And some actually just play the drums just in their own homes, just for pure enjoyment. And again, I have those kind of students on both sides of the border, so that is really, really nice. Other than that, I am trying to get this original music band called the Morning Glory off the ground. What that is a project I developed about maybe a year and a half ago, and it's basically throwing song ideas that I have that I've created, but to getting other musicians to play on the material along with me, rather than just me doing my solo stuff with everything, me playing every instrument. The Morning Glory is me creating the song, but having people throw their input in, their musicianship, and so I'm organizing the material and been doing that for the last little while. I basically have roughly 10 songs for that, and I have talked to a number of musicians to play on that material. The Morning Glory Band might be a live band at some point. It's the whole point of that, or the main focus of that band, is to not be like my original band, Flat Stanley. It's maybe a little more on the heavy side, probably a lot heavier in areas, but also more experimental, not so much mainstream. It's just an experimental band, basically. So that's the Morning Glory. So you can watch out for that. I do have a Reverb Nation site set up for that, with a few raw demos on it. Some of the material is stuff I wrote a number of years ago that really didn't have a place for, like the Flat Stanley Band flavor, or for my solo, although my solo stuff has been getting a little more experimental. So, but when I do start recording some of that material for Morning Glory, it will definitely be free to listen to and download off of Reverb Nation when it's all organized, we'll say. Drum-wise, I'm still practicing pretty much every day. I am studying a few books by drummer Gavin Harrison. He has quite a few things out that I'm learning, but mainly two books, and he has some DVDs out. And he's the drummer for Porcupine Tree. Right now he's one of my favorite drummers. Very tasty, very dynamic player, very skilled. Also, I've been playing to a book called New Breed 2. New Breed 2. New Breed 1 was a book that I had thrown in as part of my teaching lessons for a number of my students, and it's to help with definitely your limb independence. And it's probably one of the hardest books that I've ever actually worked on. The second one is even harder, and I'm struggling with it. I got wind of this book through Dave Weckl, a famous jazz fusion rock drummer. When I attended his clinics at Seneca College in Toronto, I studied with him there with a friend of mine, Alan McCalla. And so he talked highly of this book, New Breed, at the time. And when I started working on it, it was so hard to do, very, very difficult. And so as I got more through the book, it took a long time before you started, like, to get past the frustration part, but to actually feel how this book was changing your playing. And it's one of those books where you have to keep going back to it. But a very interesting book. You actually have to change your drum setup for it. Many have noticed that on my drum sets I have multiple hi-hats on the right hand, left hand. For a while I was playing double rides. and you'll also notice on most of my kits that I have floor toms on the right and definitely at least one on the left. The book is based on basically doing everything with your right that you do with your left. So you're basically training both sides of your body to play equally, you know, because in basic music, basic rock, you know, you're always playing more with your right hand than you are with your left, and what ends up happening after years, which I found myself, is that because the one limb is doing more, the other one becomes weak, or what I like to say, stupid, because when you start this book, New Breed, the first thing is to develop the weaker hand, and man, do you ever notice it. You may not notice it in your songs or if you're playing cover songs, but when you're studying this book, you realize, oh my God, you know, what have I done? I should have been learning everything even. So that's what I've been working on. The Gavin Harrison book, again, a very interesting book. I won't go into details. It's just something you'll have to check out online. New Breed is definitely a workhorse book for any drummer out there that can read music. There's also a book called Stick Control, which is part of my daily warm-up, and I had put that away for the longest time, but I've gotten back into it, and it's basically all it is your hand control, adding accents and stuff. The accents are written for you, and trying to get these your dynamics built up for your heavy notes and your ghost stroke notes. I've just noticed so many drummers around town, they just play one full out volume, and it's like there's no dynamic. And as the show gets going, I mean, they're already beating the snot out of the drums, and then by the end of the night, it's like there's no dynamics left. It just sounds like a machine gun going off, and you have to play with dynamics. Yeah, and then I'm working on the guitar factor of my playing, which I am a struggling guitar player, we'll say. One of my biggest things that I avoid is I didn't want to play guitar or learn guitar like I learned drums. Like when I was learning drums, I was like every day on the drums, like as many hours as possible. I used to drive my neighbors nuts when I was a kid. And I didn't want to do that with guitar. I wanted to enjoy guitar, not have any, headaches, frustration. I just wanted to enjoy it. So what I found was I didn't learn cover songs. I would learn licks and chords, and leads. And I didn't really want to get into the cover song. I wanted to develop that totally away from influences like that. Whereas drums and the bass guitar, I always learned cover songs. But the guitar, I wanted to take it totally different. And I know a lot of people they're friends with me there that didn't understand that. But when it comes to the writing process, then it actually helped me because my music sounds doesn't sound so much like a cover song that I've been playing for 5 years or 10 years. But it's been difficult to get technique developed. And it's a fun instrument, but at times I have to put it away because I'm just at a block. I can't go any further because of the technique, or the lack of technique, I say. But it's getting there. I would love to play guitar on stage sometime, but that is definitely not a focus of mine at the moment. But if I ever get good enough, it would be fun to do. And along with the recording, that is pretty much taken up a lot of my time. I would love to be on stage playing drums again, and will be with this Route 66 band. Probably early part of the new year. We won't be playing a lot of gigs. It's just a time factor for all the guys in the band. We all have a lot of things on our plates, we'll say. But definitely would love to get playing live with Flat Stanley again also. But that's will only happen if the right singer comes walking through our door and things click. The band thing has always been frustrating for me. So when you get into the recording part and get to create your own music, it's actually it's a lot more pleasing than have to form a band and try and find the right musicians and get the material, and then sometimes choose the band. And I just got tired of that for over the years. I love playing live, but I don't like the headaches that go along with it. And believe me, there's a lot of headaches. And I talked to a few musicians actually just recently that they love playing live too, but the frustration of keeping a band together is definitely a stress builder. So anyways, that's what I've been up to in the last little while. So stay tuned. More Yap videos coming.